Hey, y'all. Like Christian said, my name is Maggie, and I'm just going to kind of share with you guys what God has been doing in my life recently, especially over the summer months. So to give you like a little bit of background info, I am from a teeny tiny place called Craig County, Virginia, which I'm sure most of you have never heard of because we don't have stoplights in my county. So really tiny. And this summer, I had the amazing opportunity to work for a Holder construction company. And so they put me in Atlanta. So going from teeny tiny Craig County, Virginia to Atlanta was an unbelievable, huge change for me. And then just one other thing is, in the spring semester, I had a pretty life-altering moment. And so right at the end of that semester, I was finally starting to get peace and just be okay with what had happened. So I wrote a Facebook post on my Engage group over the summer, and I wanted to read it to you guys. So I wrote this on June 15th. This past month has been an absolute whirlwind for me. So many things have happened and changed, but I wanted to touch on my experience in Atlanta. As most of you know, I was offered the internship position with Holder in the Charlotte office. A couple of weeks later, I learned I was being relocated to Atlanta. Let me tell you, at that point in my life, if I had died and never gone to Atlanta, I'd probably be okay. Never cared to go. It was definitely not on my bucket list. So as summer rolled around, I packed up all my things, and I made the 7-hour journey by myself from a home to a place so completely foreign to me. Number one, I am not a huge city person. I have never been to a big city before, never really cared to spend a lot of time in one. And number two, I knew not a single soul around. So those first 2 days before I started work were just horrendously awful. All I did was consistently cry, and I just didn't want to be there. So I swore that this would be a lesson to me if I ever got excited and thought I could move away from home and do this on my own. I'd think back to this moment and realize that I couldn't. So as work started, things began to get a little bit better. At least I had people to talk to during the day, but I still struggled with what I was going to do in my spare time by myself. Loneliness is my Achilles heel all the way. So there went my comfort blanket and, if you will, my coveted mac and cheese. So I had a 45-minute commute every day. There was a lot of time for me just to reflect and think. And I started questioning why all this was happening to me. Why was everything familiar just being yanked away from me in one fell swoop? Hadn't I just found peace after what happened? I worked so hard to get that peace, and then poof, it was all gone. I just wanted to be home. I was counting down the days and the weeks until I was back home in my precious mountains with people I knew. No joke, the day I got to Atlanta, I put a counter on my phone to count down the days until I left Atlanta. I really didn't want to be there. So I was kind of sort of mad, beyond angry mad. And one particularly bad morning, I just started questioning and accusing God. And so I said to him, I was like, why did you do this to me? Why did you take that peace away from me that I worked so hard for? I lost that peace because of what you told me to do in the first place. So how could you ever dare have the audacity to take it away from me? I just want to be home. That's all I want. And then he did that little thing that he's so great at doing, that thing that makes you go, okay, ugh, why do you have to be so right? Because he said to me, why do you define your peace in temporary situations and worldly things? Yes, you were at peace before, but wasn't that peace more rooted in the place you felt in your friends than in me? Why do you define your peace in people and not me? I put these people in your life for a reason, and they are good, but I am your light and not them. So I began to see his grace and love for me in the forest that is Atlanta. And these trees that cover the beautiful city, he was distinctly saying to me, I am here. Don't you worry, child. I did not leave you. When you are lacking in your faith, just look to these trees and see me. Because what if we stop defining peace as being in this world and start defining our peace as being otherworldly and rooted in him? What if our home is not a physical location? What if home is simply a state of mind and heart that, if we are willing, can be anywhere as long as we have our peace rooted in God? What if What if we were willing to dump out our mac and cheese in order to take that next step and follow him anywhere? And so that's some pretty powerful stuff that God did in my life personally. And after this kind of moment, Atlanta was great. I love Atlanta now. Like, it's perfect. I'll go back anytime. But I really feel like God put me in this position just to have this moment. Because on April 16th, 2017, on Easter Sunday, God told me that I'm doing the world race. So for you guys who don't know about that, it is a long-term missionary that goes to 11 countries in 11 months. So that's my plan after graduation. As long as that's his plan, that's my plan. So I think this was a very big defining moment for me, that if I couldn't be at peace 7 hours away from home, how is I going to be at peace spreading God's word halfway around the world? So yeah, that's what God's been doing in my life.